welcome to the Livonia City Council. The Honorable Brian Meekin will lead us in the pledge. We all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Councilman Meekin. We'd like to welcome everyone to the 1,876 regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, July the 22nd. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Meekin,
Here.
Vice President Jolly,
Present. Councilmember
Barr,
Here.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Here.
President Toy.
Here. Councilman Kritzman will be here shortly. Do I have a presentation of the minutes for the 1,875th regular meeting of the City Council, which was held on Monday, June 17th?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman White.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Barr. Was there any comments? If not, would the clerk take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Council, we have personal announcements, tributes, and recognition. Councilman Meekin, do you have our retirees?
I do have one retiree for the month of April, Madam President. It's Michael Petrovich, a lieutenant with the police department, and is retiring after serving 25 years with the city of Livonia. We wish him well in his retirement.
Thank you, Councilman Meekin. Any other comments from council? Hearing and seeing no one. Then we will turn to birthdays, and there is a special birthday coming up. Does anybody know who it is? Well, it's Susan Nash, our city clerk.
29 again.
29 again, imagine that. Happy birthday,
Well,
Madam
thank
Clerk. Thank you. And then we have our mayor this evening that's going to present a special service certificate, Mayor Wright.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's my honor to recognize a man we all know and respect for not only his career in law enforcement, but his integrity and his leadership in our community, our region, and with our state. Curtis Cade began with his career as a police cadet in 1979. The same year that Sony introduced the Walkman tape player. I know I was going to like this. Three's Company was on and ruled on TV, and disco dancing was king of the dance floor. Enough of that. Since then, a lot has changed. Kurt rose through the ranks from uniformed patrol officer through the numerous ever more responsible and important roles in the police department. He's been a shift supervisor, led internal investigations, oversaw all undercover narcotics and criminal surveillance, was responsible for budget preparation, training and records management, and eventually coordinated day-to-day operations as deputy chief in 2008. His career has included service of police honor guard field, training officer, and instructor emergency vehicle operation. In 2011, Kurt was appointed chief of police, where he's been a true star directing the most police department in the state. He also has served in leadership positions in numerous professional organizations across the state and the county. Please join me in honoring Kurt with 40 years of service for Livonia.
Great.
thank you, Mayor Wright, and thank you, Council, for that recognition. It's been an honor and a privilege to certainly hold this seat, but for 40 years to serve this great community. You know, I look back at the time, and it does seem like a blink. And, you know, whether it's, and we can all relate to that, where we sit today with our responsibilities, watching our kids grow and so on. And it is something that goes by very quickly, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Well, maybe not every minute, but I've enjoyed a good part of certainly the job that I have now. It's an honor and privilege to be the chief of this town and work with all of you and our community as a whole. So one quick announcement is that this year, the Livonia Police Department was named with the 2019 Police Car of the Year. It's our third year in achieving that recognition, so we'll be announcing that. Well, I guess I just did announce it. So, the Ring Doorbell program, we announced that on social media. It's another great tool for us to engage the community and help us provide the services that we do for our residents. But thank you for this. Thank you, Mayor Wright. It's been a great honor to work with you over the years, and we look forward, of course, for the rest of this year, and then working with council and all the great work that you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If we may get a picture with you, Chief, we'd love to do that, and Mayor and others. Yes. All of our electeds, yeah. Linda, come on over, our treasurer. Who else is elected these days?
Was he out exercising it or stiff? No.
What?
Yeah, put this next to his rookie picture.
I mean, in a good way.
I'll take a few here. Man, many skills. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Some of us may look like evidence taken.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome. Anytime. We want you back in 40 more.
Don't count on that.
Thanks, man.
Don't tell your wife, you'll be all set then. Okay. Well, we're very privileged, we really are in this community to have Chief Cade. All right, thank you, Mayor. That was very nice, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce our department heads. To my left is Todd Zelinsik. Todd is our chief engineer and does a great job for our community, as well as Mark Taramina, who also does economic development and city planning. And to his other side there is Judy Preby, who is our legislative director and puts up with 7 different personalities, which is always fun. To my right is Paul Bernier, who puts up with the entire administration and council, which he still has hair on his head. Thank you, Paul. And then is the birthday woman over there, Susan Nash, on the 14th. Where are you registered at? No, never mind. Anyhow, thank you for all the work
Cardwell
you
Florist.
do. Cardwell Florist, yeah. Okay. And then we have our city treasurer with us, Linda Shield, and of course our mayor and Chief Cade, and many others. And our president of our zoning board, Greg Coppola, is here as well. And is there anyone else I met? Oh, Commissioner Diane Webb is here as well. Thank you, Commissioner, for being here. Okay. Council, we do have new data on items 7 and 17. And then now we're going to turn to audience communication. This is your opportunity, audience. Anyone that would like to address anything that's not on the green sheet for this evening, you have 3 minutes, correct, Councilman Meekin?
That would be correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Your name and address for the record.
Raymond Grix, 11716 Farmington Road, resident of the Fountain Park Condominium Complex. I'm also a member of the Condo Board of Directors and a City of Livonia taxpayer. here tonight to address trash issues with the Fountain Park Retail Complex. For at least the last 2 months, we've had a trash barrel and metal shelving unit sitting outside behind the Red Olive restaurant. And I will cite the Planning Commission's approval of the retail and the restaurant in May of 2006 specifically states as one of the items that the outdoor storage of refuse shall be limited to the screened area behind the easterly building on this site, as on the approved site as for the commercial development, and that there be no additional outside storage of anywhere on the site. And these 2 items outside of that restaurant, in my opinion, in our opinion, are a violation, need to be removed. The second and more immediate issue is the fact that for the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've had large open trash dumpsters, the current one being a GFL trash dumpster, and GFL being the city's trash contractor. It's in the parking area on the common road between buildings 4 and 5 of the condo and the berm at the rear of the retail development, so that it's not physically within the retail development. And again, I would cite the fact that the petitions limited, or the storage area is limited to the screened area behind the easterly building, which happens to be the Las Palapas restaurant, and again, there be no storage anywhere else on the site. The current placement of this dumpster and the fact that it overflows creates a health issue. There's trash bags on the ground outside of the dumpster attracting rats. The placement is a nuisance to condo residents, and I'm sure that none of the council members would want an open dumpster sitting in front of your house or on a street in your neighborhood. We're asking for immediate action by sanitation department, ordinance department, police, legal, council, whoever it takes to get the dumpster placed within the designated area that exists on the property. In closing, I'd state that we're not thrilled with the fact that it's an open dumpster, but you know, if it must be an open dumpster, again, it should be within the area that was stipulated when these things were approved. And you know, Livonia has the motto, families first.
Thank you, Mr. Bray.
I think it should be enforced and not ignored.
Correct,
Madam Chair?
thank you. Yes, please, go right ahead,
This
Councilwoman.
sounds like a very legitimate complaint.
Yes.
Could we refer this to ordinance enforcement to see if they can take a look at the situation?
Absolutely, yes. Did you hear that, Mr. Breck?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in tonight. Yes.
My name is
Any
Helen.
others before we move on? Anybody else? No. Go right ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
My name is Helen Morris. I live at 11714 Farmington Road.
Can I
And
ask you to hold that thought for 1 minute? Mayor, did you want to?
Come to the microphone, sir.
You are right, that is a mess down there. I was down there twice last week, and they've gotten it cleaned up as far as I could see on it. I told them, I said, I'd like to get with GLI or whoever the other dumpster is and have them do more. I told the owner of the Las Palapas, I said, you need more pickups. It's the only way it's going to get cured.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and we also have it going to ordinance enforcement, just to
Oh, yeah.
double check
No,
it too.
we're working with them too. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor, so much. Sorry to interrupt you. Could you state your name again?
My name is Helen Morris, and I live at 11714 Farmington Road. My son has been working with Michael, the ordinance guy, but there seems to be a problem with getting it behind the wall.
Okay.
And I have pictures, I think, that you really need to see.
Okay, if you'd hand those to your right there, Mr. Zelinski.
This is,
Oh, it's on your phone.
it's on my
Okay.
phone.
Can you email them over to the council office? Would that be possible, or do you know how?
Probably, yeah, I could do that.
Okay, I mean, I'd look at them, but I don't want everybody touching your
You need
phone.
to get the effect, because it's just, Michael is supposedly saying that we can't get the dumpster behind the wall until the other dumpster's gone. I really don't care. There's room for it to fit behind that wall, and it has to be changed out every day. I got pictures on the one they brought Saturday.
Okay.
And and it's already filling up. My son came home late the other night, and there was rats crawling into the
Oh,
dumpster
yeah,
that
they'll
was
feed
there.
off of it.
And I guess what my problem was is this is the third or fourth dumpster that they brought to put back there. And they had the one sitting to where, if we'd have got the storms we were supposed to, the boxes out of it would have blown into the wetlands, and we would have had to clean that up, because that's what we take care of the wetlands, supposedly. And that would be a cost to us to have people go in there and clean that out. And they had no problem telling us they would give us a citation when people were dumping mattresses and all that back there in the wetlands. So I just, and the fact that no one thought to ring a doorbell and say, hey, we're having problems, bothers us. I mean, we're just supposed to
Sure.
watch it. And the killer was the person from the Happy Walk brought their garbage out, and instead of throwing it up into the dumpster, which was full, he just threw it on the ground. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and we're gonna contact some of those
Yeah.
places right along there. The city will do that, and our mayor's been out there at some point there too, so. And I'm sure some of us will go out and check it out.
But we're barbecuing out there, and
Sure.
and I couldn't bring you the smell, or I'd have brought you the smell.
Yeah, well, I'm glad
But
you didn't.
if
Thanks.
somebody will give me who I need to email it to, I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, there's a business card right up there, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you so
Oh,
much for
okay.
coming in. Sorry for,
No, okay, thank you.
thank you again. Yes, sir.
How you all doing?
Hey, we're good. What's your name and address?
My name is Charles Corley. I'm actually from Detroit. My address is 9110 Beverly Court. I first would like to thank the City Council and government officials and citizens of Livonia for allowing me to come and speak. My name, once again, is Charles Corley, and I'm running for Wayne County Sheriff in the 2020 election. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Detroit. I went to Detroit Public Schools. After I graduated from high school, I went to Eastern Michigan University, where I had graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. A couple years after graduation, I became a police officer for 5 years. I worked for the Wayne County Sheriff Department as well as Detroit Transit Police Department. I'm running for sheriff because I feel that the criminal justice system needs to change, and I have a 3-point plan that will work. We will focus on criminal justice reform and jail reform. We will reestablish a strong relationship with the school systems in the county, and we will also build a bridge with the community. Our criminal justice system needs to be held more accountable for their actions or lack of actions in some terms. We must be more transparent with our citizens of what we do as police officers. When elected to office, our administration will provide the citizens of Wayne County with the great service that they deserve. And once again, I thank you all for allowing me to come up and speak.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. I'm Wes Nichols of 32940 Summer Street. I pay my water bill by electronic funds transfer, like probably a whole lot of residents do. And even though the city knows in advance that none of us that pay by EFT will need envelopes, they just keep sending them and sending them with the bill. And these don't do anyone any good. I've approached at least a couple departments to see if I could, encourage them to stop sending these with the bill to EFT payers, and they just keep coming. And so I was hoping that at some point, I'd like to hand this over to the City Council, and at some point I'd like to see the City Council, at a minimum, stop sending envelopes that just wind up in a landfill or recycled. And ideally, I'd like to see the city offer a paperless option, encourage residents to use it, and possibly even incentivize it. And that's all I have. Would you pass that to?
Thank you. We'll reuse and repurpose those as well. Thank you.
Madam
Hold-
President?
Hold on one second. We do have, you don't have to stay here. You can always sit down if you prefer, but we do have our city treasurer's Linda Shield here.
Thank you. Linda Shield, City Treasurer. We do have people that do bring in their envelopes. We have a spot to recycle those envelopes on the treasurer's counter in our office. So anytime that anybody has, whether it's their envelope that they get with their tax bills or with their water bills, we do recycle those envelopes. So thank you for bringing them back.
With my last tax bill, I did not get an envelope. I just got it in the last few days. There's no envelope
Okay.
in there, so, good on you.
Okay.
She's right on it. Yes, Councilman Jolly.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Shield? So is the city doing anything to have an automated payment plan for water bills and such? Because I
Water
think we've
bills-
talked about it many times. I just don't know where it is in the process.
And I'm not sure either, because that would be with the water department. My purpose in speaking was just to let people know that we do accept those envelopes at the treasurer's office counter, so we will recycle those. But we could,
Madam Treasurer, if I may, don't you hire someone to still do the tax bills and include the envelopes in them? Or are we doing that as a city now?
no, for printing the tax bills, for printing the majority of the tax bills that go out, we do include the return envelopes with them.
So we're doing them internally, yeah.
We're out.
Out, right, okay,
Right.
that's what I
But for the
wanted.
ones there's a small portion that we print and send out ourselves.
Got it, okay. So basically, they're stuffing the envelope with the tax bill as well as the envelope,
Yep,
right?
it goes
Okay.
out. And I'm not sure how the water bills are done.
Correct.
But we will accept any envelopes back at the treasurer's counter, and we give them back up to the water department. So we recycle any return envelopes.
Can they drop it in the red box out front?
You can always drop it in the red box, or
Okay.
if you're in, you can always drop it at the treasurer's office
Perfect.
counter.
Yes, you got a couple more questions. Councilman Scott
Yeah,
and then
it's-
Councilwoman McIntyre.
It's such a simple efficiency idea. I wish I would have thought of it myself. I'm so glad he came here and shared that. Couple of questions, Ms. Shield. Do you have an idea what percentage of our residents currently are doing the automated payment? I mean, I know I do.
I do not.
Okay, I wouldn't expect that you did. I just was curious, like ballpark what it was. Do you know, would there be a major difficulty with dividing the bills into two, the automateds and the not, and putting envelopes in the ones that need it and the ones that aren't? Is that, I can see how
always
maybe
look
that
into
adds
it.
cost, but,
We can always look into it.
okay. It might just, it seems like a simple thing to look into, and I can imagine that from a cost perspective, it might actually be expensive to do that because you're making things
Dividing it
less
up.
standardized, but it'd probably be worth taking a look at. I think it's a interesting and simple idea, so.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councilwoman McIntyre.
I was going to comment on something along Mr. Barr's comments. A while ago, I worked with direct mail, and oftentimes the issue is, and the dynamics may have changed because there's so much more automation, but taking things and making them any sort of exception to your standard process and taking an envelope out requires a second mail program and sometimes is prohibitively expensive. But I certainly appreciate Mr. Nichols bringing this to our attention, but it may be that it ultimately is the most cost-effective thing for the city right now to do it the way we're doing it. But I think this was a great conversation. Thank you, President Toy. Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer, so much. If there's no other comments under audience communication, okay, I'm sorry, couldn't see you. Come on. Come on, Doug. Sure. Your name and address for the record. We've got about 7 more minutes for audience communication.
Okay, Marcia Malik, 36114 Parkhurst Avenue. And I'm here about the quick pass car wash improvements that have been made. We were here at the last meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't able to be here at the meeting, but I was able to get a copy of the unapproved minutes so that I could understand the conversation that happened. And it sort of appears like the owner was going to just improve the existing car wash, and there wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
planning involved, but he ended up making a bigger footprint, and we brought that to the city's attention, and they had invited us to the meeting, so that was all discussed. So the questions that I have, I read that there's like 17 points of what they're going to do. So for example, one of the things they're going to do is add additional landscaping, the arborvitae trees, to help with the sound. So how will we know that he's gone ahead and made those improvements?
Madam
Or how
President.
do we know, I mean, they had,
Yeah.
the thing that's kind of hard is,
Okay.
they haven't opened up yet.
Can you hold it?
Oh.
Because you know what?
What?
This is on our study meeting, which is at 8 o'clock.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Okay. Can
you stay
Absolutely.
here, till a little bit after 8? It might take us after 8 to get to
Absolutely.
it, but.
I apologize. I
Oh,
didn't
no,
realize that.
don't apologize. We're glad you came down. Councilman Barr, did you have a comment?
No, you
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on our next meeting after we get through with this meeting, okay? Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, are you on the same one, miss? Okay. All righty. If you wouldn't mind waiting until after 8 o'clock, we'll get to that. Thank you. If you have any other audience communication, you would be the last one, ma'am, if you're coming up, or? Oh, Diane, okay. Commissioner, go ahead.
I just got a quick thing. Thank you so much, Madam President and members of this board. First of all, I want to say I'm here tonight because you got a couple of county issues on your agenda. Inkster Road between 5 and 6 miles getting repaved, which is awesome, and hopefully 96 to 5 miles next, because
Okay.
it's horrendous.
Commissioner, I hate to do this
Oh,
to you,
but I can't talk about anything on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
sorry.
Could you wait till that comes up?
Oh, sure. And actually wasn't that important. Can I say something that's completely not on the agenda? Because I
Sure,
got 2 other
go
gigs
right
I
ahead.
gotta go
Yes,
to,
yes,
so
go
I
right
can't
ahead,
stay.
Commissioner.
I want to thank the mayor's office for resolving an issue with it was kind of a property dispute and intergovernment thing. Wayne County was saying it was Livonia's. Livonia was saying it was Wayne County's, and we went back and forth on the western Gulf Estates, that property there around the pump station and
Oh,
the
yeah.
lights being out, and something my office has been trying to get resolved within Wayne County for 2 years, and they kept pointing the finger back at Livonia. And the mayor's office and Dave Varga did a lot of research with helps of people from all different departments. And we were able to prove that it is the county's responsibility. And, you know, I live there too, so I was hearing it from the whole neighborhood association and everything else. So I'm really glad that we got it resolved. So I want to say kudos to the mayor and your team and everybody else that worked on that. And I also seen I've been getting calls about littered up overpasses around the 96 freeway in the Plymouth and Middle Belt area. And your court has your community service workers out
Yes.
there cleaning it. They're doing a great job. So I just want to send kudos in that direction, you know, to continue to do so, because, you know, when they're not calling you, they're calling me. So makes everybody happy. So
That's
thanks.
right.
Thanks. I appreciate all
Well,
you do.
thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, go right ahead, and then we got to go to our meeting.
I'm not sure that this is the right time. I'm here for the proposed brewery that's on the agenda, but I don't know which meeting that's in. So I can wait if that's later.
Madam President.
It's on our agenda, the green one. If you want to wait till the item comes up.
Okay,
I
that's
believe
fine.
it's number
17.
17.
Okay.
Okay? Does everybody know where the agendas are? Okay. When you first come to City Hall, they're right outside the door here as you enter the auditorium. These are green for the first meeting. It can get a little confusing. So if you're here for the 7 o'clock meeting, we've just gone through a lot of housekeeping items, and now we're going into our normal agenda. Do we have any reports from the mayor or other city officials? Are we good, Mayor? Thank you. Items 1 through 12 listed.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Before you get into the regular,
Sure.
or the consent agenda, I'd like to move approval of a resolution which would refer the subject of addressing the difficulties the police department is having with hotels within the city to the committee of the whole, and also to the administration for a report and recommendation.
Thank you. Does she have support on that?
Support.
Moved by Councilwoman White, supported by Councilwoman McIntyre. Was there any discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, would anybody from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one from the audience, would the clerk take the roll?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Council, we are now on items 1 through 12 listed on the consent agenda. This will be voted on as one item. This does not mean that they are any less important than any other items on the agenda, but they have been deemed not to be controversial in nature. Do I have a motion for 1 through 12?
Madam President.
Please go ahead.
Offer an approving resolution for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Councilman Barr.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman McIntyre. Clerk Nash, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Council, we're on under unfinished business, item 13, this proposed amendment to the zoning. Do I have a first reading as it relates to Parkview Park?
Madam Chair, I'll
Yes.
offer first reading. This is a housekeeping item.
Thank you very much. You've heard first reading. Item 14 then, if there's no comment from the audience on that or any council person, I see none. Item 14 is a roll call vote. Councilman Meekin, you're giving this, you had given this first reading.
I'll be happy to offer second reading on this item.
Thank you. You've heard second reading. Was there any comment from the council on second reading? Hearing and seeing none. Would anybody from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one from the audience, would the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. The ordinance will become effective upon publication in the newspaper. Item 15 then, the first reading was given by Councilwoman McIntyre on June 17th. Councilwoman McIntyre.
I'll be happy to offer second reading, Madam President.
Thank you. You have heard second reading on item 15. We're going through these quickly because these have been read first and in a study session. And so we have a second reading. Is there anything else to add from the council and or the audience? Hearing and seeing none and no one coming up. Item 15 then, Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Ordinance will become effective upon publication in the newspaper. Item 16 was also a first reading that was given by Councilwoman Kathy White on June 17th. Councilwoman White.
I'll offer second reading, Madam Chair.
Thank you. You have heard second reading. Was there comment from the council? Anyone from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one, would you take the vote on item 16, please?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passed. This will also be effective upon publication in the newspaper. Item 17, council has new data on it as well, and this is a petition to utilize by Piano Shoe Properties a microbrewer license, redevelopment site, expand parking, modify exterior fascia. This of the existing building on the property located on the south side of 7 Mile Road between Inkster Road and Harris Avenue in the northeast quarter of Section 12. And the new data, Madam Clerk, please receive and file. Those are pictures depicting the exterior appearance of the building dated July 1 of this year and July 2 of this year. Council, do I have a motion for 17?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'll move to approve for purpose of discussion.
Moval by approval by Vice President Jolly. Was there support?
Support.
Supported by Councilman Meekin. Is there discussion from the council at this point? Okay, before we go, I want to also receive and file, Madam Clerk, proposed exterior elevation dated February 25th of this year, please, and the revised on that of July 3rd, as well as the new data of exterior design drawing dated May 12th of this year, and changes to the site plan, exterior elevations, interior layout, identified February 28th to June 11th, which was by the council, and February 28th was by the commission, meaning planning, and those are receive and file as well. Okay, there we have it all. We have Resolution A, which is an approving at this point. Did you have a question or comment, petitioners? Were you, okay. I guess it's all you at this page.
Cheryl
Yes.
Kasich, 19004 Deering. I happen to have the property line that is with the proposed brewery, and we support their brewery. We think it's a great thing for our community. We're looking to bring some new blood in there. So we are that. But I did have a couple of concerns. I did notice, and I don't know if this is the right format or not. I did notice that there were some reports that there are a possibility of food trucks. It is a small area, and so I just wondered if there are specific designations as to where those food trucks would go, because it's a small area, small parking. I was told that they would be sharing parking, hopefully with some of the other businesses in the area. But what does that mean for the food trucks? You know, I don't know if food trucks are allowed to be on the street. Would they be able to be in front of our property? That kind of thing. And also the trash that would come from it, hopefully, would be taken care of. The other thing that I had that I wanted to mention was, I don't know the specifics of how these things go. So we were concerned about what happens when there's a change in plans. We know as business people, plans always change. You know, the business is going very well. They're getting a lot of business. They want to change their hours. They want to change how many days they're open, because right now it's supposed Thursday to Sunday. What do they need to go through to do that? Can they just change it, or do they have to come back to you? If something is going wrong, or something that I'm concerned about, my family's concerned about, what do I do in that instance if I have a concern that I want to come to?
Certainly, those are all good questions. I'm going to have Mr. Toromina, our city planner, answer a few of those for you then. Thank you.
First, regarding the food trucks, the plans make no provisions for food trucks. I was not at the study meeting, so I'm not sure if the topic came up at that time, and whether or not there was discussion about that as a possibility. But I can tell you that the site plan makes no provisions for food trucks, and that's something that, quite frankly, I'd have to discuss with the legal department relative to what ordinances would apply in that case, and whether or not it's something that would have to go back before this body or the planning commission. Certainly it's not addressed in the approving resolution. The issue with respect to the hours of operation in particular changes, it depends on the degree of changes that are being proposed. Minor alterations sometimes can be done administratively. With respect to the hours of operation, that is something that is baked into the approving resolution. It's referenced that there's the condition number 4 references a table where the hours of operation are specified. So that's something that they will have to adhere to, and any changes to that will have to come back to the city council for modification. And then lastly, with respect to issues that she may encounter at some point, that depends on the issue. Our planning department sometimes is a good first resource to contact, and we can certainly direct her into the right direction depending on what the issue is, or it could be enforcement department or other departments. So,
sure. And if you want, Cheryl, I'm sure Mr. Toromina has a business card that he'd be happy to give to you, and be sure and take a council business card as well. Councilman Barr.
I believe the petitioner's here. Mind if I ask him to come up?
No,
to the
not
podium
at
for a
all.
minute?
Petitioner? Yeah.
Let's just briefly hit this head on. Is it your intention to be bringing food trucks here?
First off, my name is Andrew Schumacher. I live at 17555 Dolores Street here in Livonia. I am the co-owner of Piano Shoot Properties.
And I'm Nathan Pastuza, and I'm the other owner. I actually live in Midland, Michigan, about 2 hours north of here.
At this point in time, we have no formal plans for food trucks on the property. It's a possibility we've kicked around. If we were to do it at all, we would look into the proper provisions. If we were to do it, then we would look at only having it in the north lot, which would make the most sense. It's the only lot with 2 spots. Those would be potentially the employee spots, because it does not make sense for employee parking. I live close enough to actually bike to the property, And so if we were going to do that, I would just bike over to open up the spots for any kind of food truck.
Okay, thanks. And through the chair to Mr. Bernier, if I can, do you know off the top of your head, Paul, whether that requires any special provisions for them to do that, or do they have free reign to do that if they choose to?
No, I don't know. We'd
don't?
have to look
Okay.
up. I'd get together with Mr. Termina
Yeah.
and figure it out. My guess is, and this is a guess, that if it's licensed properly through the state and it's permitted parking on the street, of course, you can't park on 7 Mile, so we know it's not gonna have on 7 Mile. Deering's a different question. I'm not sure the answer to that if you're not blocking it, but we will look it up. And I'm not sure if we need any separate licensing from the city to allow that, or if it goes in front of the board. But we would, Mr. Termina and I will get together and try to figure that out. So the answer to your question is no, I don't know at this point in time.
So there is the possibility, though, that if this were to pass tonight, that, and I understand we don't know, but not knowing, there's the possibility that that's something they could do in the future without any further approval from us.
There is that possibility. I mean, I can't tell you it's not going to happen. I
Right.
can't tell you it's going to happen. I just simply haven't looked up, as first I heard of the concern on it. So we haven't looked up the ordinances or the state law on it. But I think we're gonna probably have two issues. Are they properly licensed by the state?
Sure.
And do they need a license from the city?
Okay. I don't blame the petitioner for considering it. And I appreciate your saying, that you would obviously want to do whatever you did within the compliance with our ordinances, but this is a new one for us, obviously. So thanks for answering those questions to both of you.
And I will say, to address that, our business intent is to avoid any parking on Deering Street, because we know that is a large concern of the neighborhood. So if we were to pursue something like that, we would make sure it avoids any blockage of the street or
Well, and
parking on there.
it certainly gives some measure of comfort knowing that one of the owners is a resident of the neighborhood as well, so, thanks.
Certainly. Anyone else? No? Okay. Gentlemen, anything more to add at this point?
Yeah, we just want to summarize a little bit of what we said in the commission meeting. It's short. Just the primary intent of this property is to manufacture beer for sale, just through distribution as a microbrewer. The vision of the tap room is to have a family-friendly place for friends to gather and enjoy spending time. A lot of this comes from my vision in growing up, going to Germany, and having a lot of that kind of thing where it's a community space where all ages are welcome, not just those that are legal. So it's a family space where people can mingle and sit outside when the weather's nice, sit inside when the weather's not. And the hours of operation are not changing at this time. It's still Thursday through Sunday. And we would have to, as we learned, go through the city council and commission if we were to change that.
Appreciate it.
That's all.
Certainly.
I think we need to change our resolution now.
Okay?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you. It's nice to see young people coming into our community and doing these types of businesses. We appreciate it. Yes, go right ahead.
Just a quick comment, because the concern was raised, the food truck thing, that's a new one for me, and it's something that we need to learn a little bit more about, but I think it's worth noting that if that's allowed at this site, it's allowed at anything we've approved. So I don't really, I think that's a legitimate thing for us to get smarter on and to understand our own ordinances on. I don't see anything unique about this that should hold up, is just a thought to consider. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and your
Thank you.
support.
Thank you. If I may, Cheryl, are you set on all your questions then, pretty much? And if there's any real issues, please give us a call, whatever. But these are two nice young men, I think, Bill.
Very nice.
Very, and very cooperative as well. So, yeah, seriously, thank you, everyone, for working together. We appreciate that. Okay, we have an approving, and if there's no other comments from the audience, then I'm gonna ask the clerk to take the vote. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. We are on.
Madam Chair, I think we need to.
Oh, yeah,
to
that's right, the
Resolution
second
B.
one.
This would
Got it.
waive the 1,000-foot separation requirement from
Appreciate it.
existing Class C licensed businesses, and I'll offer that motion.
Support.
And it's moved by Councilwoman White, supported by Councilwoman McIntyre. Council, this resolution requires not less than 5 council members to concur. So we do have to have that many in order for this to pass. I'll just remind you of that. If there's no other comments from the council, I'll turn to the audience. Anyone from the audience, again, wanting to speak to this? Hearing and seeing no one, would the clerk take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, item 18 is a proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance number 543 from our zoning board of appeals to permit high-end internet-based car sales within M1 or light manufacturing. Mr. President, would you like to address us in any way or on these districts? And do I have a motion before we get into this?
Which committee did you want to go?
What, whatever one you want.
Actually,
Let's do planning first.
You want to do planning?
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll offer Resolution B, sending this to the Planning Commission.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Meekin, supported by Vice President Jolly to send to planning, which is Resolution B. Okay, we have that on the floor. Yes, Mr. Coppola, anything?
Nothing to add, just wanted to make
Okay.
sure.
Okay, certainly, okay. Good of you to be here. Okay, is there anything else from the council? If not, from the audience? If not, could you take the vote on sending that to planning, please?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Number 19 is under new business council. This is an appointment, and I'm going to turn this over to Councilman Barr.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. We've got the opportunity to, thanks to Councilman Kritzman, who's not able to be here with us tonight, but to appoint Christopher Bullivin to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I would offer an approving resolution for this first.
Support.
Supported by Councilman
Madam
Meekin.
President.
Yes, go right ahead.
I make that
Continue.
mistake a lot. I'm surprised you
That's
didn't
all
call me
right.
on it, Brian.
That's all right.
Chris is a Livonia native. He and his wife have chosen to raise their family here. He's got a stellar reputation as an attorney within the community. I've gotten to know him both personally and professionally and hold him in very high esteem. I think Councilman Kritzman's made an excellent choice, and I think the best thing I could say about it is that if it were my turn to do an appointment, this is the appointment I'd be making. So I would wholeheartedly recommend support of approving Christopher Bullivin for the ZBA.
Great, thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say, sir, before we vote?
Chris Bullivin, 17405 Ellen Drive, Livonia. I just want to thank the council, Councilman Kritzman, Councilman Barr, for the recommendation and this opportunity. Really looking forward to it.
Great. You might want to include Beacon, he seconded.
And Meekin, and McIntyre. I can include many on this board. There's many on this board.
Just giving you a little nudge
There you
there,
go.
that's all right. No problem, sir. Okay. Anybody from the audience wishing to address this? Oh, hello.
I just
Yes,
have
go right
something
ahead.
to say. Again, echoing what Mr. Barr said, I think that if we all had to make appointments at the same time, we would have needed some sort of lottery decision or lottery system to decide who got to choose Mr. Bullivin for the appointment. He's a outstanding appointment, and as I told Mr. Kritzman, you couldn't pick anybody better, so
Thank you.
it's be a privilege to have him serve.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, everyone thinks very highly of you, and that's great to hear.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anyone from the audience then? No? Okay. Well, Madam Clerk, it's almost your birthday, so we're going to let you call for the vote.
Keep going, huh?
Yep, keep going.
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Congratulations, sir. Yes. Item 20 is a request to authorize an additional appropriation expenditure. This is brought to us from the Engineering Division for the 2019 Asphalt Road Paving Program for the Fire Station Number 1, Livonia Police Department parking lot, and Jack E. Kurtzy Recreation Center parking lot improvements.
Move approval, Madam President.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Meekin, supported by Vice President Jolly. Was there further discussion? Anyone from the audience? No one from the audience. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin,
Aye.
Vice President Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Aye.
President Toy.
Aye, motion passes. Item 21 is a request to authorize an additional appropriation expenditure of the same as 20. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman White, supported by
Second.
Support.
Councilman Jolly, Vice President Jolly, that is. Okay, was there discussion? Hearing and seeing no discussion, anybody from the audience? Hearing and seeing no one from the audience, will the clerk take the vote?
Councilmember Meekin?
Aye.
Vice President Jolly?
Aye.
Councilmember Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Toy?
Aye, motion passes. That ends our regular agenda for this evening, the green one. We go back to audience communication. Anyone wishing to address the council on any item that was not on the green sheet, please approach and give us your name and address.
Thank you. Wes Nichols, 32940 Summers Street. And with regard to the envelope reduction and the paperless billing, with whom may I follow up?
The city treasurer, I believe, was going to look into that as well.
Madam President?
Yes,
The city treasurer.
If I can, so, not that, I don't want to say that you caught us off guard tonight. We're not prepared to answer your question at this time. We have talked numerous times in the past about simplifying all of the procedures here in City Hall. And one thing that has come up several times is having an automated payment system for something like this.
Sure.
But purchases like that and programs like that require, dedicated funding and stuff like that. So we'll have to check on our side where we are in the process. But I know it is something that we've discussed in the past, and we are looking forward to modernizing all of these ways in the future, okay?
Okay, thank you. I have your email, and thank you for responding to my previous email.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming in. Anyone else? If not, come on up.
Hello, council, administration, citizens, State Representative Jewel Jones. I just wanted to come and say hello. I hope all is well. Just left Garden City. I was just delivering a few updates, letting folks know that we're wrapping up right now our legislative session. The budget has been sent to conference, so we should be voting on the budget in a couple weeks, hopefully so. But just wanted to come forth and offer myself for any questions or comments you all may have for the state level.
What are you going to do about the gas tax?
We're working on that. It's
Well,
not gonna
are you working on
yes,
it? Okay.
We're working on that too. It's not going to be 45 cents, but it's going to be somewhere in there.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it was just, her first term, Democrat after quite a while. Maybe she just wanted to get quite a lot of room to negotiate. So it's definitely not going to be 45 cents, but we are working through that right now as we work on the budget.
All right, good job, Representative. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. All righty, do I have a motion?
To adjourn?
To adjourn.
So moved.
Second. I'll give it to Councilman Barr.
Moved by Councilman Meekin, supported by Councilman Barr. Show 6. We are adjourned.